Today's experiment is infrared spectroscopy and boiling point determination. So you would be given an unknown in this experiment, and based on infrared spectroscopy and boiling point, you need to figure out what is your unknown. To identify an organic compound, spectroscopy is a very important technique, and there are different types of spectroscopies, but in this experiment we would learn about the infrared spectroscopy. So in the dry lab portion of this experiment, you would learn the technique and the interpretation of the infrared spectrum, and based on that you can figure out what functional groups can be present in the molecule. And so this spectroscopy is very important to know the functional groups in an organic compound. So basically this experiment is divided into two parts. First of all, you will determine the boiling point of the a compound based, for example, this is an unknown, right? So this is a setup in order to determine the boiling point, and then we would determine the record the infrared spectrum, and based on both the data, boiling point as well as infrared data, we would figure out our unknown. So on page number 54, that is the list of possible unknown liquids is given. So I will let you know what is the boiling point from the experiment, and based on that you will figure out what could be a possible unknown as per the boiling point, and then you would interpret the infrared spectrum to figure out finally your unknown. Materials and chemicals used for this experiment: you would need hot plate, boiling chips, unknown, thermometer adapter, thermometer, ring stand, clamps, sand bath. And for recording the IR, you would need methanol to clean the metal bump on ITR, and then chem wipes, and of course the IR machine. Chemical group. If you have not identified the unknown by the end of the lab period, you should return the unknown liquid to your instructor, or just put it in the original container in which it was issued to you. Now, if you have identified the compound, right, so dispose it in either the container for the halogenated waste or one for the non-halogenated waste, whichever is appropriate. There are two experimental methods to determine the boiling points. One is basically you can record simply the boiling point. You just view the thermometer during the simple distillation, as you have seen in the experiment number 5. And another way is basically to use a direct method where you would use the thermometer bulb, right? So this thermometer is inserted into a test tube. As you can see, this is a 4-inch test tube, and to hold the liquid sample. So if you can see here, the liquid sample is there, about 0.5 milliliter of the sample I have added. And then to this, basically I have added also boiling stone. So I'm not sure if you are able to see, this is the boiling stone. So do not forget to add the boiling stone into the liquid, right? And if this is a sand bath, you can see this is a sand bath, right? So your liquid should be completely, covered in the hot sand. And so these are certain things basically you must keep in mind. Now put your thermometer in the thermometer adapter to get a thick enough surface to the clamp. So you can see this is the thermometer adapter, and the thermometer basically is inserted into the thermometer adapter so that you would get the thick enough surface so that it can be clamped well. Then depending on the method used and the skill of the person performing the technique, boiling points can sometimes be slightly inaccurate. So basically when experimental boiling points are inaccurate, it is more common for them to be lower than the literature value, and usually the difference may be as much as 5 degrees centigrade or more. Well, especially this applies especially to the higher boiling liquids, right? So this is basically the setup. You can clearly see the thermometer should be in the thermometer adapter, and then the bulb of the thermometer should be right above the surface of the liquid. It should not touch the liquid. And also the thermometer should not touch the anywhere in the test tube as well, so it should be right in the middle. Three more things to keep in mind while taking the temperature. Well, it is good to keep a record and take the temperature at every minute. And well, this makes it easier to keep track of changes in the temperature and to know when you have reached the boiling point. And well, the liquids must boil vigorously when you're recording the boiling point, right? So the liquids must boil vigorously so that you would be able to see a reflux ring above the bulb of the, or around the bulb of the thermometer. And you should see a refluxing. Refluxing means that you would see the liquid is boiling and then coming down, boiling and coming down. That means that liquid is basically refluxing. And so that's called as the reflux ring. You would see the ring form of the liquid is refluxing in a form of a ring. But for some of the liquids, the reflux ring is not very strong. So you need to really see it closely. And once the boiling point is reached, the temperature reading on the thermometer should be constant for at least 2 to 3 minutes. And then you can say your boiling point is reached. So as you can see here, the liquid is boiling. So as you can see here, the it is a liquid is kind of refluxing. You can see the drop is going to fall from the bulb of the thermometer, so it's refluxing, and the temperature is right there. So it's almost there, right? So that's basically it's kind of refluxing right now. And then you can see the temperature. So you can note down the temperature at this time. This is after 1 minute. This is again after 1 minute, and you can see the the test tube, the boiling solvent. So here is the boiling solvent, and the this solvent is under reflux. As you can see, it's kind of a ring, right? Because it's kind of a reflux ring. It's just constantly it's refluxing. So you can see it's still boiling, right? It's very clear. Again after 1 minute, there's a slight increase. So this is again after 1 minute. You can see the temperature, it's been like 3 to 4 minutes. The temperature is constant, and you can see the liquid is still boiling. Our next step is basically to record the infrared spectrum for this unknown, and then you, based on, as I mentioned before, based on both the data of the boiling point and the infrared, you would figure out your unknown. Let's record the infrared spectrum of the unknown. So the initial setup to record the IR. First is turn on the spectrometer. Now the switch is, the power switch is at the back of the machine. So you need to turn that switch on. Once you turn that switch on, you would see a blue light. So a few minutes earlier, I have already turned it on. And it will make several sharp clicking sounds when you turn it on, but that's normal. Once you turn on the switch, you need to wait a few minutes for instrument to warm up. You will know it is ready when the blue light on the front left stops blinking. So that's the front left that stops blinking. So kind of the the machine is ready. Now on the computer, open the Omnic program, and you are going to select ATR ZNSE attachment right there. Verify that the system status icon in the upper right is green with a check mark. So now I need to clean this metal bump because I'm going to record the IR by placing the sample here. So make sure it should be clean. First of all, I will use methanol, couple of drops of methanol on it. Make sure you have, wipes next to you, next to the machine, and then you would wipe it off. So this metal bump is now clean. Before collecting the sample, we need to first of all collect the background. So we do not want these peaks in our sample. These are unwanted peaks. For example, this is a peak due to carbon dioxide, right? So we want to subtract the environmental effects from our spectrum. So it's very important to record the background. So I don't want to click any new window. So I will just click no. So when you are recording the liquid sample, you need to place a drop on the raised metal bump on the ATR apparatus. That's the apparatus. And if it is a solid, place just enough of the sample to cover the metal bump, right? And then you would use this arm. So it is just above the metal bump. Carefully turn the knob clockwise until it makes a single click. So but we are not recording it, so you need to put it down, and then you need to basically it will make kind of a single click sound. So that's what it's for, solid samples, but we are not recording solid samples. The sample which I'm going to record is the liquid one. So here I'm going to place a drop. Let's say 2 drops. It's looks like a little bit volatile sample. And then I'm going to click collect background. Oh, sorry, collect sample, not the background. Then I'm going to write the unknown. You can just write the name or something. So unknown. I already added my sample. Now it's collecting. So basically this is a clean spectra, right? You can see that the effect of background collection. So we did not have any of those peaks what you have seen in background. Just say yes, because I wanna keep it. And then you can just write unknown here, name number 1, let's say, or whatever is your, and then click OK. Now I'm going to click find peaks. So I want to label my peaks, right? As you can see, this one peak is labeled, but not rest of them. So what I will do, I will basically click here. So this line will move up. This threshold line will move up. Now all of the peaks are labeled. Value of percent transmission. So this is basically your wave number, right? And this is your percent transmittance. So that's the graph between the percent transmittance and the wave number. So you would raise the threshold up so that all the peaks will be labeled. With your spectrum, if you don't want to record it again or anything, just hit replace in the upper right corner, and then you would click report, and then preview or print report. So this is basically your IR report for this particular sample, and then hit print and just hit print, and it goes to the printer and you will get a print. So this is the printout of your spectrum. You can see I have labeled it as unknown. So here is the name. And then this is basically the graph between percent transmittance and wave number. So this is your IR spectrum, complete thing. And here are the details, like regarding the position of the peak, where does it appear in the spectrum, and what is the intensity. For example, this peak is really sharp and others are not. With your spectrum, you get the print. You are going to either click edit, click clear from edit menu, or press Control Delete. So I'm gonna click clear, so it's now clear. And then I would add a couple of drops of methanol to basically clean the metal bump here of ATR. So that now machine is ready for another sample to record. And then once you are done, just close the program, and that's all. Once you are done, make sure you turn off the machine. So I've already mentioned the power switch is at the back. Turn it off. That's all in experiment number 6. Thank you.